Appearance on Dion's Daily Dose does not imply endorsement from or by any candidate or guest. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by Dion Bergeron or Dion's Daily Dose are his own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of any guest. Material and information presented is for general information purposes only. The Dion's Daily Dose name in all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owners, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service. If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose. There we go. I figured it out. Okay, so I totally hijacked tonight's live show, whatever. And I don't know what I want to talk about. I have no idea. I just took over. I guess I want to talk about, we went to South Lake County today. We went to Lowell and we went to Hebron. And I like it down there because it's so country in parts. And one of the best things was I didn't see a single McDermott sign in Lowell. That was the best thing ever, because you forget how much you see his name until you don't see his name, and then it's refreshing and it's beautiful and it's not like, name pollution. And I'm trying to get this going, his actual Facebook page. I need to rethink when I hijack better. So, oh, okay, then we're good. Okay, so we are, Saturday's pretty much over. Sunday, 2 days away from the big day. I know a lot of people have voted early. I'm kind of still going back and forth whether I want to vote early on Monday or actually just go to the polls first before I hit the absolute other polls that you guys may see me at. I've always voted on actual election day, so it's kind of weird for me to think to go in early. But I may do it Monday, kind of like help my oldest who votes for his first time, kind of talk him through how you do it and then go with him. Because Tuesday is going to be crazy. Tom Slick says, absolutely no McDermott. There are a lot of people who feel that way. Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, Green Party. We wanted something that would unite us, and I think we found it in McDermott. I just worry that his reach is deeper than we think. So what happens if he loses on primary or general, doesn't matter. He's going to want a recount, a hand recount, a paper recount, a Supreme Court recount. He's not going to accept a loss. So we may not know who the Democratic winner is or the winner of the general is for a long time. He is not going to take it sitting down. Jack says, hi, Liz. Hi, Jack. I took over. Figured tomorrow and Monday are going to be crazy enough. I'll just give him a break and take over. Not doing a live just was not an option. But we drove to Lowell and had lunch at a restaurant called George's Restaurant. If you guys are ever in the area, go there. They have amazing food and the prices are good and the portions are huge. It's really good. I guess it's a staple restaurant of Lowell. We then drove through Hebron, didn't really see many people. We had Dion one out. Didn't really see many people. So, but still, I like Hebron. Hebron is a nice small town feel. And I changed the way the camera is, so I'm kind of used to looking one way and I'm looking the other. So Tom says, General will have a lot of outside money coming in. To beat the Democrats in the general election, I don't care who gets the Republican nomination. There's going to be so much money coming in from all sources, and the Democrats are not going to give up this control, easily. This is we're connect North District 1 is for the most part connected to Chicago. We have the expressways, the port, the lake, the steel mills. It's too powerful. District 1, just where it's at and what it has in it, is extremely important. Important to the Democratic Party, important to the Republican Party, important to Indiana, important to the country. They are not going to give this up easily. There are going to be McDermott already had a super PAC from Denver give him money or volunteer to run ads for him on cable TV, and the super PAC is tied to road construction, which he had his Hammond Street people come out and go to their thing. It's all very muddy. But yes, there's going to be a lot of outside money coming in. There's going to be a lot of Democratic money coming in. And I'm going to be really interested to see how many of these Democratic candidates that have said, absolutely no McDermott, I'm the best one, everyone else is just horrible for the district. When you say that and then you go and endorse the winner, it makes me think that your word it didn't mean anything. But how many Democratic candidates that lose, if McDermott wins, will turn around and back him? Or how many will realize he's the worst thing for the district? Let's actually back that Republican candidate. I don't know, but there will be a lot of outside money coming in. So whoever wins this nomination, I know who I think is going to win. And it's also the same person that I think is the best person for the job. The guy on my shirt. Whoever wins, everyone has to just suck it up, Buttercup. Their guy lost, and come together and volunteer and be a voice, be a yard for a sign, be a body for a shirt, be a donor, whether it's $1, $5, whatever. If we don't support our Republican candidate, then it's over with. And I actually ask how many Democrats, and it's kind of a challenge, if McDermott wins and you absolutely do not want him, come back the Republican candidate, even if it's only for this just this election, just these 2 years. Come back this candidate so McDermott does not get in. We've seen McDermott bail on the city when it was underwater. I have not heard where McDermott is today, and I know there is some craziness going on. In Hammond, Dion actually sent a text to Spencer warning him of what he had heard on Facebook and just letting him know that, lots of people are hoping he stays safe and to stay safe, because when the protests were over, it got scary in Hammond. They're actually planning a protest tomorrow in Michigan City by the police station, and I hope it's peaceful, and I hope everyone is okay. So we are definitely going to need to support the Republican candidate for the general election. I know by now some people are kind of getting burnt out on election talk because it's all day, every day. So my actual goal of hijacking the show today was to talk about, one, what happens to us as a family on June 3rd. Either way, I know we kind of touched on that. And who Dion is as a person. You guys know his platforms, but who he is as a person. What will happen June 3rd? He wins June 2nd, and I fully expect we won't know the results until way late in the night, just because I think it's going to be that close of a race. June 3rd, he wins. The team he has lined up kicks in, and I get to step back. I get to step back into mom role. I get to step back into my professional role, and I step away from the campaign. This whole process has taught me that I don't belong in politics. I don't play games well with others, especially not you scratch my back, I scratch yours type of games. And also, I think things should be fair and equal and just, and that's just not politics. So for me, I step back. I step into what I've always been, is the supportive wife role, not campaign anything role. especially too, I think it would give fodder to the Democrats if you had the wife being the treasurer, being the any role in the campaign. It would just be questionable, especially if I was handling money like I have been for the primary. I was the treasurer. It just looks bad. So I will be stepping back. You guys will still see me. You guys will still hear me, but not as much as you have in the primary. Also, because our two boys are going to be, we have three, but two of the three are actually going to be a freshman and a senior. And if any parent knows senior year is the plan for prom, plan for graduation, plan for everything, try not to cry every day of senior year because it's the last first day, it's last Monday, it's last Friday. So I will be in mom mode, especially because in the general, Dion will be so busy. We have kids and we don't want to leave them feeling like the campaign comes first, because making it very clear, I know Dion has, and I will again, our kids come first, election campaign comes second. So June 3rd, I go back to my normal life. I go back to grad school. I go back to, although this campaign has made me rethink if I should go back to do my MBA or just proceed with my general master's. When this whole COVID thing calms down, I will start the process of being a court appointed special advocate for children who are abused and going through CPS. In family court, you're kind of their advocate, their voice. And I will start, I wanted to get involved with Special Olympics for a while. I will actually start the process of seeing how I can become a coach or assistant coach with Special Olympics. So mom, grad student, case manager, court appointed special advocate, hopefully Special Olympics, volunteer coach, assistant coach. That's my 5 roles, wife of a candidate. Dion still does Dion's daily dose, handling his own social media. That nothing really changes with him except we're in the big time and it's going to get crazy. Let's say June 2nd doesn't work out and someone else gets the nomination. He calls it, he kicks the sheets, which means, lick your wounds and realize that, and we realize this now, no matter how many votes we get, be it 10 or 10,000, it's an honor. It means that each one of those votes is a person, and that person believes in us. That person believes in what we know Dion can do for the district. That person believes in Dion. That person believes he's the best choice. He's the best choice to run in a district that he is going to have to reach across those party lines and turn undecided voters, independent voters, people who are tired of the Democratic Party and have finally realized that the Democratic Party that was my grandparents and my parents' Democratic Party no longer exists. And now they're feeling lost. We're going to need a Republican candidate that can turn them and open their eyes and realize that Republicans are not the evil, rich, out for themselves, all the negative stereotypes of the party that you hear. Can it be done with the other candidates? I have my opinion. I think no. I think when you have a man as a correctional officer, not only are you law enforcement, and people seem to forget that jailers and correctional officers are still law enforcement. Jailers work with the people from arrest time to either prison or free. And they also deal with them when they're going through the stress of trial. There's a whole slew of issues and problems that jailers encounter that police officers don't, and that correctional officers don't. Correctional officers, we get them. I did it for 6 years. We get them when it's all said and done. They've already been arrested, they've already been convicted, and now they have their sentence. And a lot of the times we get blamed for their arrest, their conviction, their sentence. But a lot of times we have to talk to men, I worked in a male facility. There is one female correctional facility in the state of Indiana, and that's Indiana Women's Prison down in central southernish Indiana. We had, when I worked at Indiana State Prison, and I think right at the same time as Dion, we had about over 2,000 guys. You have to talk to 2,000 men differently from one person to the other. You have to change your approach. You have to change your reason for talking to them, how you talk to them, and often you have to change it like that. You often see, and I know Dion has, and he's touched on it briefly, them in their lowest point and still be able to get them through and deal with them. Another thing is it gives you a tough skin. It gives you a skin where you're not easily intimidated. You're not easily bullied, because Washington is full of bullies. But a correctional officer goes in, we have PTSD rates almost 3 times higher than your average police officer. Dion told me the story about how he had to escort a inmate from an area we call the guard hall back to his cell because this man. Oh, am I backwards? No. Paul says we're backwards today. Am I backwards? That would not be good. I changed the camera around, so I hope I'm not literally backwards. He had to escort a man back to his cell who had just gotten a phone call that several members of his family had died. And take him back to his cell and lock him in there and tell him he was sorry, but know that that man wasn't going to get to go home to go to a funeral to bury his family members. That takes a special kind of person to be able to do that, to be put in that situation, to do it. And Dion has. So you need someone that's going to be able to turn heads and talk to everyone. Dion was the only Republican to attend both roundtables, the St. Timothy roundtable and the politicking roundtable. Bill Powers joined him. Nobody else did. The second one, he was it. It was about 10 Democrats and Dion. And Dion wins because Dion's convinced and determined to be the one that can and will work across party lines, because that's what we're going to need in November. You're going to have to tell people this is why you should vote Republican when you've never voted Republican before in your life. Anyway, so if June 2nd doesn't work out, he kicks the sheets. We thank our supporters for believing in us, in him. To see these endorsements coming in and to talk to people, it has been amazing. It's been heartwarming, and thank you to everyone. Paul just says, I'm going to show this. He's not a why. That's why. I was always told, especially when we started this campaign, don't even ask for an endorsement. Don't ask, doesn't happen, doesn't come in the primary, because the primary is anybody's race. You could be strong in the beginning and then fail at the end. You could fail in the beginning and be strong at the end. Don't ask. We don't do it. No party does it. No district does it. No political person does it. You're going to get your endorsements from real people and maybe companies, but you're going to get them from people that you know or that have heard your message and believe in you. And don't even ask the party or any party members for endorsements. So we didn't at all, ever. We started, I think, a couple weeks later than most people. But we didn't ask. We didn't go after. Dion's not the type of person to beg someone to support him. But we didn't go after any endorsements. And then all of a sudden, they started coming. And they started coming for a certain candidate. Since I'm hijacking, let me before I go any further, I've hijacked this. These are my words, my messages. I'm speaking independently, not on behalf of the campaign. This is just the wife's view. Okay? My view, the wife's view, my words, my message, my thoughts. They started coming in, and they came in for one of the candidates. And it left us puzzled. So we reached out to other campaigns. And other campaigns were in the same boat we were. We were told it doesn't happen during the primary. Don't even ask. It's not going to happen. Win the primary, get to the general, then you'll get our endorsements, our support, our money, but not in the primary because it's anybody's game. Asked another campaign, same thing. Asked another campaign, same thing. All of us were left like, well, that is not equaling the playing field. That is not getting out of the way so the candidates, all of them, whether it's 1 or 50, can do their thing and let the people speak. So now we have an advantage in endorsements. Okay. COVID came and it changed everything for everybody. And endorsements became even more important. Having the ability to go and talk to people, especially organizations, political organizations, weren't equally offered. And the story I hear is, well, then COVID happened and we didn't know what to do. We had one candidate talk and COVID happened and we didn't know what to do. We all had no Zoom and Skype and any meeting and phone calls, and that didn't happen. So we have an unfair playing field. Democrats have it too. I thought we were supposed to be better than the Democratic Party. Then we have endorsements coming. I hesitate to finish. Okay. Everybody has supporters of all walks of life, whether it be Mervan, McDermott, Mark Leva, Dion. We all have supporters. Supporters can say whatever they want and be whoever they want. Have whatever past they want. Supporters are supporters. Then you have people that actively work and help your campaign. And in my opinion, those that you have working with, helping, being the mouthpiece, giving you endorsements that you make public should be vetted, should be checked out, regardless of party. If you're going to have a worker that walks with you and endorses you and you share their endorsement, you don't want that endorsement or that worker to be used against you in the general. And that's happened. There are candidates, both sides, and it drives me crazy, that are the most questionable, the most easiest to be used against you in the general, just based on who they are, especially if they've given you an endorsement and you are happy to have it and you broadcast it and you say, this is my supporter and he's helping my campaign. It's hard for me to bite my tongue, but then also hard for me to not share, then also hard for me to share. You're watching an existential struggle on camera, and I guess I hate vagueness. Okay. An endorsement came for Spencer Lemons. This is me. This is something that I have sat on for weeks. And I feel like this has to be said. Because if I didn't say it, I would probably kick myself. We had a guy come to one of our meet and greets who started talking at us, not to us, at us, and telling us fantastical things that they got accomplished in from graduating high school to now. And I'm sitting there listening, and I'm trying to figure out how they did all of this in 6 years. And it could be done, but it would be very hard. You'd have to be very, very motivated, but it could be done. Then they threw in that they served in the military. And I said, well, that to myself, well, that makes it even harder to get everything done in the time that you told us. Possible, but very hard. And then they told us a story of one of their arrests. And I asked a question. I said, well, how do you get arrested for that if you are that? And then I was told another fantastical story. And as a woman, as a mom, as a former law enforcement, something just wasn't right. Something wasn't adding up. So I just started listening, asking questions, but I was always talked over. They left, and I Googled. That's what I do. I always do it. I think if anyone's going to, as this person said, they were going to help our campaign, then they need to be at least looked at to make sure that they are safe. They are, not, a mass murderer. Before he left, he told me a story of he didn't have a job. He couldn't find a job. So then I said, well, the industry I'm in, they're always hiring. He says, well, I can't work in the industry you're in because my uncle owned one of the companies that you work with, and I basically stole from him. A company that works with people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. He stole from and was perfectly okay with telling me. So now I'm really inside going, He leaves. I Google him. I simply entered his name into Google and up popped everything. So I then went to Odyssey Case Management, which is the case records for Indiana. Anytime you go to court, whether it's for a speeding ticket, whether it's for a collection, whether it's for a crime, every time you go to court, your court record's in here for the whole entire state of Indiana. And a lot of other states use it too. I simply put in his name. Everything was found public records, and there was everything. This man stole from a company that serviced people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, my industry. He stole, and he stole more than he said he did. This man was arrested for impersonating a police officer for pulling a woman over at night of a scooter. Pulled her over, pretended to be law enforcement, wanted her social security number and her driver's license. She didn't feel comfortable. She didn't feel like it was what a police officer would do. So she called 911. The police came. He was drunk. He was impersonating a police officer. And according to the newspaper articles, zip ties and handcuffs were in his truck. According to the newspaper article, they believe this was not the first woman that he had pulled over. So how do you get arrested for impersonating a police officer? If you are a police officer, you can't. You don't. He was impersonating a police officer. Keep scrolling, and you see driving while suspended, as far as I can see. Operating a vehicle while intoxicated. You see another charge for having a handgun with no permit. The newspaper articles, he stole from the company that services intellectual disabilities, stole a TV, a space heater, a projector, and his laptop. And he's helping Spencer's campaign. He said that he was the campaign director for John Cannon. He was not. He endorsed Spencer. Spencer has not vetted him. But according to him, everybody knows and everyone's okay with it. And I don't believe that. Found out from someone who worked with him that he was never in the military. He actually lied about that. Paul says, I know who. So we have stolen valor, impersonating a police officer, disregard for laws. He endorses Spencer. Spencer does not check him out. If Spencer does not check him out now, he gets to DC and he gets surrounded by lobbyists and a lot of shady people. If he won't check people out now, when will he? That endorsement, that man I'm talking about, is probably one of his most vocal supporters. This man is also, anytime he thinks that I'm talking about him, blows up my private messenger. If you want to know who I'm talking about, look for which precinctman candidate, he's running for precinctman, endorsed him. And that will tell you your answer. He knows I know this. He knows that I've been going back and forth about making it public. What I know from him. What I know is what I know from him telling us this face to face, as well as going into public information. I wanted to make sure of that because I would never want to be accused of slander. That's fodder. That is the biggest thing that could be used against the Republican Party. They would do it. Dion's always said from day one what his survey answers are, and his platforms haven't changed. His understanding of right to work has changed a little bit. He understands it better now. But his platform hasn't changed. His answers haven't changed. He's the only one who made that USW survey answers known. The only candidate. If what candidates are saying now is different than their survey, different than what they said in both interviews, we will be done for right away. Right away. That candidate will find out what the answers really were. The Democratic candidate will. And the Democratic candidate will say he's either he lied then or he lied now. So, is he a liar now or is he a liar then? We have to vote for the candidate that is transparent and honest, that candidate who hasn't changed, and if he has changed his policy, acknowledges that. This is not where I wanted to take this hijacked episode, but I wanted to let people know so now I can know that I share that information, that if something happens, I'm not going to be sitting there going, oh, what if I had told? Oh, should I have told? I told. And Dion's probably going to be really angry when he sees this, because this is not what his campaign is. His campaign is not, well, I know this and I know that. It's separate from his campaign. This is coming from his wife. This is coming from me. So, moving on. It is Sunday, Monday, 3 days, that big day. Please just go and vote. Figure out what's important to you. Figure out who best represents that. Vote for them. But also keep in mind, can this person win in the general election? Because if it's someone who can't win in the general election, your voice isn't going to be represented. And if you think that your candidate can't win, find the next best substitute. Find the one who, if they're not a perfect match, and no one will ever be a perfect match anyway. It's going to be close. This is historic. Guys, vote in this campaign, your vote, or in this election, even the primary. Please vote in the primary. A lot of people don't vote in the primary because they don't want to claim party, or they don't think it matters. It does. Voting in this primary, regardless if your person wins or loses, you're taking part in an open seat. And if you're a Republican, you're taking probably what I think is the best chance Republicans have to turn the district red. Vote, 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 vote. Um, Vote early. Early voting is still going on until Monday. Tuesday, I think Monday at noon it ends. Tuesday is the general. Polls are open from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Super slow, usually during lunch, 1 o'clock. So if you can duck in there, a lot of jobs will give you time to be a little late to go vote. Check with your job. Vote before 6 a.m. Vote before 6 p.m. Just go out and vote. It's easy if you've never voted before. You just and turn the state gold. Turn the state something other than blue. But voting, you just press the button next to the name of the person you're voting for, and then before it's submitted, it'll ask you to review it, and you review it, and if it matches what you wanted, you hit the big red button and you voted. And it's easy. It's easy peasy. If we've been under blue management in the House for 90 some years, Pete Wisklowski for 30, but Democrats for 90, ask yourself, are we the best district? Is this district even what you would consider the best of the best? Because according to the Democrats, they're the best of the best. They know everything. They know how to fix everything. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. Voting Democrat over and over and over and over and over again and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. We are not insane. Our district is full of smart, educated, wonderful people. Don't keep doing the same thing and expecting different results because they're not going to happen. That'll never happen, no matter what some say. Turning the state gold or not, turning the district gold, the state gold, or not turning the district blue. I think it can happen. Anything can happen. My God, people, if Donald Trump can be elected president, love him or hate him or okay with him or however you feel, think about it. Think about when you first heard that dude back there was going to run for president. People thought he was out of his mind. People thought there's no way that'll ever happen. It can never happen. Blue. They thought he was out of his mind. I mean, some people still do, but for the love of God, I wish he would just text good morning, everyone, and go silent and then let people freak out. Before the primaries, Donald Trump, there's no way. Then he won the primary. We're facing Hillary Clinton. The machine, the Clinton. There's no way. The polls said it couldn't be done. It wouldn't be done. He's wasting his time, and it was done. Anything's possible. He should be your inspiration to accomplish any dreams you have in life, because if he can become president, you can do anything too. We can do anything we want. There's no limit. The only limit is us. The only limit is what we don't put our mind to. If he can become president, we can turn this district red. We just need the right person. If he can become president, we can win the primary. We can win the general. We can finally show that. Think of all the Democrats candidates running. Lawyers, wealthy, successful, and that's great. But not a lot of them are regular people. Look at the Republicans, all of them. Bill Powers is an adorable 80-year-old man who was in the Air Force. Before it was the Air Force, it was the Air Corps. Regular guy. Mark Leva, regular guy. Mont Hanley built a business, made a success for himself, but is a regular guy. Spencer, regular guy. Dion, regular guy, regular dad, regular person. Delano, regular guy. Nobody's rich. Mont is, but he had a business, but I wouldn't say he was rich. Nobody's establishments. Nobody's a millionaire. The Republicans are the regular people. The Democrats are the elites. The elite who do not know what it's like to struggle. McDermott says, I was raised by a single mom in California. He was in Napa Valley, California. Median income is well above this. Says that he's not rich. Says that he was fined for being a Democrat, $50,000. And he wasn't fined. But he's not rich. They're not rich. He makes 4 to 5 times the average median income of a Hammond resident. He's not rich. They're out of touch with reality. They're out of touch with the residents of this district. Mervan is in touch because that's his job. It's his job to go help you. It's his job to be delivering things. Would he do it if it wasn't his job? Could he do it if it wasn't his job? I don't know. He seems like a good dude. But I don't see him have any answers for preventing poverty, preventing job loss. He can handle it if it happens. What's his plan to prevent it? What's his job to protect manufacturing, protect the steelworker, not help you when you lose your job, but protect it? Dion had a plan, has a plan, and he talked about it yesterday. He has a plan for manufacturing. He has a plan for healthcare. He has a plan to put my industry and those men and women who give everything they have for their consumers, for their people who get services, on a career path to improve their life, to improve their income, to make a DSP a career, a college career, a career path, which means anyone who's getting services will get better care because they will be better trained and better paid. Increased funding for home health care, which means companies that staff people to work with individuals that need help will be able to pay their people more because they are able to bill more to the state. So they will be better off. That will also help our economy. That will also attract new jobs. Paul said the only candidate with a viable, affordable plan for healthcare, and that is true. It's really hard to summarize it in 5 minutes or 7 minutes, but it breaks down to this. If you're on Medicare, and you're on Medicare for a variety of reasons, usually because you're on Social Security, either because you are of age or you had an injury. You're paying more in medicine. You cannot, to make it more efficient while saving money. Medicaid can negotiate drug prices. TRICARE, which is the military, can negotiate drug prices. Medicare cannot. You can't negotiate drug prices. You have to pay more. So think of your grandma, think of your parents on Medicare. They're paying more. I want to say he found out or said at least three times more than 11 other countries that are similar to us. You have a monthly deductible that comes out of your Social Security monthly payment before you even see your Social Security. You make like $1,300 a month on Social Security. You have a $200 Medicare deductible. That comes out before you get the $13. So you're only getting $1,100. Now you have high drug costs. Now you have high cost of living. That is why we have so many elderly that can't afford their medicine, that can't afford food, that are going month to month wondering if they're going to be able to make it. So that's step one. Step two is preventative care. And he said something, and I want to clarify what he said in the forum. He said, we have people who don't know how to brush their teeth. We have people who don't know how to bathe. What that means is that was only part of the preventative care. Think about how you learned to do all that. How you learned to wash your hair, take a shower, brush your teeth, do everything that we take for granted in our daily life. We learn when someone teaches us. If no one teaches you how to grocery shop properly, if all they teach you is how to buy prepared frozen meals, you don't know how to grocery shop for a meal. We need education. If your mom didn't tell you how to, or dad didn't tell you how to bathe, how to wash your hair, 200, Paul says 200 is a low end. He's right. If they didn't teach you how to bathe, then you wouldn't know how to bathe. When you don't know how to bathe, it leads to healthcare problems. Not eating properly leads to healthcare problems. Not knowing how to grocery shop leads to healthcare problems through diet, through inactivity, through hygiene. We need education programs. We also need preventative care. Get in for that annual physical. Get in for that mammogram. Get in for that pap smear. That brings down healthcare costs. So right there, we're saving money, and it's not Medicare for all. Medicare for all isn't going to work only because I saw it happen on my end. With waivers, the state went from 300 waivers a quarter to 300 waivers a month. Kind of opened up the floodgates a little. Everyone got their waivers, and everyone wanted help, but the providers could not keep up with it. So there was wait lists, and there still are. There's wait lists and wait lists and wait lists. And that will happen when the floodgates open and everyone goes to see the doctor, and there's only a set amount of doctors. So moving on, he has two parts to his healthcare plan. Price tag transparency and deductible security. And there's a lot to them. There really is. Basically, he used the example of LASIK. When you go to get your eyes done, you know over here it's going to cost $400. Here it's going to cost $600. Here it's going to cost $800, but they got a coupon for $100 off because of price tag transparency. You know how much it costs, and you go according to what the prices are. Quality to the prices. Who knows how much a total knee replacement costs? Anyone? I have no idea. Part of that is because Anthem insurance, a total knee replacement costs $1,000. United Healthcare is going to cost you $4,000. We need to know how much these procedures are going to cost us, these services, these items, as well as everybody pays the same. That's a little bit about price tag transparency. Basically, no surprises when you open the bill. You know what you're paying. Deductible security, it started when I worked at the prison. It started by Mitch Daniels. We had a whole bunch of plans. Costs were skyrocketing. So this plan came out. It's widely popular. It is a healthcare plan, just like a healthcare plan. It has a deductible, right? Let's say it's not $5,000, but let's say a $5,000 deductible. When you sign up for this plan, you have that $5,000 deductible. You then have a health savings account, or an HSA, that has deposited into it the same as that $5,000 deductible. It's yours to use for medical items, doctor's visits, prescriptions. It's your money for that. Whatever isn't used is yours to keep. It causes people to spend more. I mean, if you have money for groceries, you're going to go to the grocery store. You're going to spend according to what you can afford, what you have. You don't want to go over what you have. It gives people a skin in the game. Singapore uses this, and their health care, they're one of the healthiest populations in the world. The final part of it was creating DSPs as career paths. Because we have an inverted pyramid, and what that means is we have more people aging than we do that can work to support them. And this is happening globally. So we have an inverted pyramid. We're top heavy. Our parents are going to age. We're going to age. Our family and our friends are going to age. And they're going to need help. They're going to need home health care. They're going to need, if they don't, by the grace of God, they don't. And that is a celebration. But they probably will. Dementia, it happens. It happens so much. It happens to everyone. That's on the rise. But right now we're facing a massive job shortage, about 1 million jobs. If they aren't trained properly, they're not giving proper care to your mom, to your dad, to your aunt, to your uncle. A traumatic brain injury. I have an individual who has a roommate. Let's call her Sally. Sally was fine. Sally graduated college. Sally was earning her PhD in pharmaceutical studies, pharmacological studies. One night, Sally was driving and got into a car accident with a big truck and suffered a traumatic brain injury and other injuries, just like that. No more PhD. And Sally needs help. Sally needs services. We need to make sure that the funding is there so the providers can pay their people more. We need to make sure that that population is taken care of. And there is not one single candidate on either side that is willing to pick up the torch and be the champion for the aging and the disabled, for the most vulnerable of our population. Dion also wants to create a registry, just like nurses have. If you have abused, neglected, or exploited somebody who receives services, you go on a registry so you cannot go from provider to provider to provider. Nobody else wants to do that. Nobody else. People say they want to be a voice. They want to be the conservative voice and remain silent when we are attacked. If you can't be a voice now, when can you? And it just comes down to who wants to be that voice? Who do you want to be that voice? Who's willing to be that voice? And that is my little soapbox thing is in no means meant to single anyone out, or if I have brought up someone you're supporting to make you feel alienated or anything like that. It's my Liz opinion, because if Dion doesn't win, come November, I'm stepping in that voting booth as a voter. And these are the things I'm thinking. These are the things I'm feeling. These are the things that I'm wondering about. And when I go in and I look at so-and-so for Democrat and so-and-so for Republican, I want that Republican to represent my voice. Democrats will say that they care about everyone and they are there to fight for everyone. We have to make sure we can match that on the Republican side. We have to make sure we have a Republican candidate who says, whoa, you're not talking about this. Here's my plan. You're not talking about this. Here's my plan. Because we got to turn the heads that haven't been turned in 90 years. Heads that haven't been turned in 90 years. If you keep your head to the side long enough, turning it back is painful and hard. That's just if you sleep wrong. So when you get to be almost 40, that happens. These heads have not been turned in 90 years and are determined in clinging on to the dream that the Democratic Party still cares about them. Who's going to be able to turn that head? If you haven't voted, when you go and vote, think about that. And vote for the person you think can. Vote for the person who you think is going to represent everybody in District 1. Democrat, Republican, young, old. Who's going to say, you know what? I'm tired of seeing my kids stress out during I-Step week. What can we do about that? I'm tired of teachers having to teach tests. What can we do about that? Paul says we need a minimum requirement of training for personnel in the med industry nationally. And I agree. Who's going to go to DC with that? So many people in this district work in the healthcare industry or receive services? Who's going to be their voice? Who is going to be able to turn that head and tell them that they should turn it and actually get them to turn it? It's up to you. That's what you think. We're at 54 minutes. I hijacked it. Thank you guys who are watching for sticking through this with me. Dion will be back tomorrow. This will probably, except for our event that's still in the works for after the election or election nights. This stupid COVID thing. Listen, we're trying to book something for our election night thing, but you cannot. We want to stay close to home. We want to do a Michigan City business because we're on stage 3 and it's a limit of 100 people. Business to reserve 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever people. Turn away business and not have that many people show up. So I'm actually working on that. I don't have any details yet, but when I do, it will be shared. Me on screen this is probably it. You may see me like in a live at the party, like, hey, this is 99.9% it. I have thoroughly loved and enjoyed coming on here and talking to you guys, and you guys listening to me is much appreciated. Paul is an amazing man who will listen to me ramble about anything. And I will tell you, Paul, just how good that coffee is. It is so good. You need to go get some. The rest of my night tonight will consist of mom duty. And then once the oldest is home from school, I'm cracking into that Chernobyl. I haven't decided which one yet. If you guys have not been to Manic Meadery in Crown Point, George's Restaurant in Lowell, I'm going to go with the Meadery. Go. Their tasting room, I hear, is going to open up in the next couple weeks. Do yourself a favor and go. They have great cider. They have great mead. Mead is a honey wine. It's very sweet, but they also have not so sweet ones. Go check them out. I went to high school with Tony, one of the owners. He's a great guy. For someone who's afraid of anything, I was, and here's why. There are trolls out there, and there are a lot of mean people. And I never once wanted to go public. I have PCOS, which isn't always the best thing. And I know a lot of women who hide because of PCOS and their effects. So going public was never ever my intention. You guys have been awesome and have made it fun, so I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem speaking my mind, but going on camera, I still won't watch myself do it. But so you guys have been awesome to our supporters from the bottom of the wife's heart. You guys are amazing. Amazing. When Dion said I want to run, I actually told him Pete Wiskoski was retiring. I saw it in the newspaper, and we actually told the Lake County Republican, like, no one, it was like it blindsided everyone. I wasn't sure what we were to get ourselves into. And I was scared. I'm a mom. Like, we're opening up a can of worms. The people we have met that have supported us are amazing people. And I'm so glad that I got to meet you guys and talk to you guys and know you. And I want to keep that up even after. If this all ends June 2nd, it wasn't what we were meant to do. It wasn't what he was meant to be. And that's not the last you've heard of him. If we make it to the general, she used the phrase balls to the walls. We're in on this. I'm going to become the supportive wife. I'm not in the campaign anymore after June 2nd. I'm going around. You might see me at the polls. You may not. There's a lot of polls, and there's only one of me and one of him. Balls to the walls, we're in. But if God hasn't said that this is what he's meant to do, it's not what he's meant to do. There's other plans in the works. But it's not going to be the last you see of him. He's still going to do this. And then I'll probably jump in as just Liz from Michigan City. Please support whoever wins. I cannot stress this enough. And this is how I'm going to end it. Vote for your person. Vote for Dion. But whoever wins, serious talk. Whoever wins is going to need us to come together to make this happen. Let's do that. Let's make sure whoever endorses candidates are the best of the best. Let's turn this district red, and we can only do it with each other helping. Paul says that he is passing out flyers on Tuesday at his county building for us. Thank you, Paul. I will be starting the day in Munster. That is my hometown. Went to elementary school, middle school, high school there. Lived there until I was probably about 20. Then moved to Hammond, then moved to Michigan City. I'm actually starting, one of the polling places is the church that we got married at. So I'm not going in, obviously, because I'm not voting, but I will be there. So going there will be a fun experience for me, and hopefully talking to some people. And then my plan is the church I grew up in / got married at, Fairmeadow. It's a Nazarene church in Munster. Start there, go to the high school, then go to the library, and then I'll be leaving Munster to go to Highland or Griffith. I haven't decided yet. To end up in Lake Station by like noon, then hit Porter County to end up in Long Beach by like 5, and then end there. We want to end where we began. We began out here in this little sliver of our district on the east. This is where we started. This is home, so that's kind of where we want to end. Dion 1 will be out tomorrow, driving around. If you see us wave, I don't know where we're gonna be yet, but we will let you guys know when we're doing it. If you see me at the polls on Monday, wave, smile, all that good stuff. As soon as I know about the after events, I will let you guys know. Thank you for listening to me for an hour and 1 minute, and all the other times. You guys are great. I appreciate you. I thank you. I love you all. You guys are amazing. We are an amazing district, and I've been here my whole life, and I don't intend to go anywhere. Thank you all, and that is it. Bye. If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose. This has been Dion's Daily Dose, hosted by Dion Bergeron. Executive producers, Sean Holgram and Michael Beebe. Copyright 2020. Dion's Daily Dose, all rights reserved.